This is Dr. Panda.
Have you ever wondered if the gods in ancient myths and legends were actually aliens? And what if humans were created by these aliens? Hey everyone, I'm Dr. Red Panda, and today we're diving into this fascinating theory. The reason I'm tackling such an outlandish topic today is that I recently read a book called We Are All Children of the Gods. The author is none other than the legendary figure in ancient civilization studies and a leading authority on the search for extraterrestrial intelligence, Erich von Däniken. After casually flipping through a few pages, I found the book to be much more serious and thought-provoking than I initially expected. So today, I'm going to discuss this topic with you all in a serious manner. Revolutionary molecular anthropology. Molecular anthropology is a branch of anthropology that, in simple terms, uses genetic information at the molecular level to study human origins and evolution. The main research method in molecular anthropology involves gathering a large sample of people from around the world, comparing their DNA or protein sequences, and tracing the common ancestor of humans. This field emerged only after the advent of genetic technology. To everyone's surprise, as soon as it appeared, it completely revolutionized our understanding of human history. We all know that Y chromosome DNA is passed down through males. By studying Y chromosome DNA, we can trace human paternal ancestry. Through research in molecular anthropology, scientists discovered that all living humans share a common paternal ancestor. This is the legendary Y chromosomal atom. It's believed that Y chromosomal atom lived between 60,000 and 90,000 years ago. Then, scientists turned their attention to mitochondrial DNA, which is inherited through females. By studying mitochondrial DNA, we can trace human maternal ancestry. Through molecular anthropology, scientists found that all living humans also share a common maternal ancestor. This is the legendary mitochondrial Eve. Mitochondrial Eve is believed to have lived around 140,000 years ago. Female reproductive function tends to be relatively stable, while male reproductive function is more variable. Sperm quality can vary widely and is strongly influenced by both environmental factors and genetics. This might explain why the determination of our paternal ancestor occurred about 60,000 years later than that of our maternal ancestor. As a result, scientists typically use the timeline of mitochondrial Eve as the benchmark. Of course, scientists couldn't possibly collect and compare the genes of nearly 4 billion women worldwide. Instead, they reach their conclusions through extensive sampling and comparison. While we can't be 100% certain that this Eve was the one and only maternal ancestor, the evidence suggests it's very close to the truth. At this point, sharp-eyed readers may have noticed an issue. Hominids, like the famous Lucy from Australopithecus, existed millions of years ago. Homo erectus lived between 2.5 million and 1.6 million years ago. But these ancient humans have no direct connection to our Eve. Our mitochondrial Eve appeared around 140,000 years ago, after a genetic mutation that triggered the split between humans and hominids. Hominids have lived on Earth for millions of years and continue to exist to this day. Yet, it was a single genetic mutation that gave humans intelligence. Another possibility in history. Interestingly, this timeline aligns closely with the period described in humanity's oldest myth, the Sumerian myth, where kingship descends from the heavens. It's hard not to wonder, could it have been these gods, descending from the sky, who triggered the genetic mutation in hominids, leading to the emergence of human intelligence? In other words, humans may very well be the result of extraterrestrial beings conducting genetic engineering on the hominids living on Earth. If this theory holds true, then the true history of humanity might look something like this. A long, long time ago, a spaceship from outer space visited Earth with the goal of planting the seeds of civilization on this beautiful blue planet, using genetic mutations to create intelligent life. Perhaps they did this because they saw spreading extraterrestrial civilization as an urgent priority. Only by rapidly expanding civilization at a snowballing pace could they promote the diversity of cosmic civilizations, creating a favorable environment for their growth. Some might wonder, if that's the case, why didn't the aliens just colonize our planet directly? Maybe it's because living on Earth would have been too costly for them. Each planet's lifeforms are adapted to their unique environment. Only native species are suited to the planet's gravity, immune to its bacteria, and able to breathe its specific air. As we mentioned earlier, the aliens' main objective might have been to promote the diversity of cosmic civilizations. Colonizing other planets would just expand their own civilization, which wouldn't contribute much to that goal. So, the best approach was to allow Earth's lifeforms to evolve intelligence and develop their own civilization. By the time the aliens arrived on Earth, various forms of life, including hominids, had already been here. So, the aliens picked a species they thought had potential and placed it under a microscope to extract its cells. They then rearranged the DNA, which likely triggered genetic mutations, kind of like the techniques we use in modern labs. Next, they put these modified cells into a liquid culture, allowing them to develop into egg cells, similar to today's in vitro fertilization, or they might have directly injected the modified cells into eggs from the same species. Since we're pretty advanced in genetic engineering now, it's easy to imagine how this could work. In the end, the genetic modifications made by the aliens led to offspring in the hominid species with the traits they were hoping for. Along with a body structure and immune system already adapted to Earth's environment, their brains became much more advanced, giving rise to complex thought processes. Simply put, human intelligence may have emerged from a genetic mutation in hominids, and that mutation was likely the result of extraterrestrial genetic engineering. You'll notice that this perspective doesn't conflict with Darwin's theory of evolution and actually aligns with many ancient religious beliefs, creating a perfect logical middle ground between evolution and religion. This, in turn, boosts the credibility of many religious myths. For example, the biblical Adam and Eve might have been the subjects of an extraterrestrial genetic engineering experiment. And the Garden of Eden could have been the aliens' lab. Leaving Eden might symbolize being sent out into the wild, away from the aliens' protection, where we had to adapt to Earth's environment and begin to thrive and multiply. In the Bible's Genesis, it says, God blessed Adam and Eve and said to them, "Be fruitful and multiply, and fill the earth and subdue it, and have dominion over the fish of the sea, the birds of the air, and over every living thing that moves on the earth." This sounds strikingly similar to the instructions an alien might leave behind before departing Earth, doesn't it? After a long time, the aliens returned. They came back to Earth, likely to see how humanity had progressed. However, despite their high hopes, they were deeply disappointed. Humanity hadn't evolved toward civilization. Instead, we had become more primitive and barbaric. So they decided to start over from scratch. By this time, humans had spread across the globe, and the aliens had no choice but to take extreme measures. This is where the Great Flood, recorded in the myths of various cultures, comes in. How's that? Doesn't it suddenly make sense of so many religious myths? And it doesn't stop there. If we apply this hypothesis, many mysteries in human history could also be explained. Take the fact that the genetic difference between humans and chimpanzees is less than 2%. Yet, this 2% makes a huge difference in intelligence, behavior, and psychology between the two species. What does that tell us? It means human genes only mutated once, and that mutation just so happened to bring about intelligence. If it were merely a coincidence, it would be too unbelievable. But if humans are indeed the product of a primate genetic engineering experiment, then everything makes perfect sense. In nature, all organisms tend to evolve toward greater diversity and complexity. That's why most genera have multiple species, but when it comes to the genus Homo, we only have one, Homo sapiens. Other human species like Neanderthals, Heidelberg man, and Homo erectus all went extinct. That's pretty strange, right? However, if we consider the alien hypothesis, things start to make sense. Unlike other species in nature, humans didn't evolve naturally. We're the product of genetic engineering. The aliens' goal wasn't to create a diverse range of species, but to develop one that could create civilization. In the end, only Homo sapiens was left standing to take on that responsibility. An incredible coincidence. In the first half of this book, author Däniken highlights numerous religious myths that really make you pause and think. After reading them, you can't help but wonder, Could the gods have actually been aliens? Take Abraham, for instance, the founding figure of Judaism and the shared ancestor of Jews and Arabs. He's credited as the first to make a covenant with God. Religions like Judaism, Christianity, and Islam are collectively referred to as Abrahamic religions because they all regard Abraham as their earliest prophet. This covenant between God and Abraham laid the groundwork for the widespread belief in a singular divine being. According to Genesis chapter 13, Abraham once lived in a city called Mamre, which is where God made his covenant with him. God declared Abraham the father of many nations and promised that his descendants would be as numerous as the stars in the sky. Interestingly, God's instructions to Abraham sound a lot like what he told Adam and Eve: to be fruitful, multiply, and pass on their legacy, ensuring the continuation of beneficial traits to shape civilization. By the time we get to Abraham, though, there's a new element, a direct mention of civilization taking the form of nations. Even more astonishing, the Old Testament directly describes what could only be interpreted as an alien visitation to Mamre. According to the account, one day Abraham was sitting at the entrance of his tent when he suddenly noticed three mysterious figures approaching. Without hesitation, he slaughtered a young calf to prepare a feast for his unusual guests. Meanwhile, Abraham's son Ishmael reportedly whispered to his mother that these visitors were not descendants of any earthly beings. In the Old Testament, these unexpected guests are described as heavenly beings who descended from the skies, lingered for a while, and then disappeared. Doesn't that sound exactly like a UFO encounter? The author of the book provides countless similar examples that make you question everything. In short, the more we use advanced technology to analyze and connect ancient ruins and relics across the globe, the clearer it becomes that many of them seem beyond the capabilities of ancient humans. A striking similarity links these civilizations, despite being separated by vast distances. Take mythology, for example. Across different cultures, gods always come from the skies, never from underground. Even in polytheistic traditions, deities of the underworld are said to have descended there from above, like Osiris in Egyptian mythology or Hades in Greek mythology. Even in Christian lore, demons of hell are fallen angels, beings cast down from heaven. So, ask yourself, could all of this really just be a coincidence? After learning all of this, I think we have every reason to suspect that visitors from outer space might have come to ancient Earth long before humanity had even moved past the Stone Age. Of course, Erich von Däniken's theory is still just that, a hypothesis pieced together from countless puzzling coincidences, with no definitive proof to back it up. Yet, his inquisitive attitude made me realize that we shouldn't dismiss such wild ideas with a narrow-minded perspective or write them off as mere pseudoscience or tabloid fiction. Entertaining these outlandish theories, even just as thought experiments, might help us avoid the trap of academic dogmatism. Who knows? In exploring these unconventional ideas, we just might take one step closer to uncovering the truth. And that's a wrap for this episode of the video. I'm Dr. Red Panda. If any of you have your own perspectives, or if you think there are any errors in the video, feel free to leave a comment in the discussion section. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to subscribe and give it a thumbs up. Until next time, take care.